Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Matt is going to be teaching you the perfect tune for Valentine's Day, La Vie en Rose. So this is really a song that needs no introduction. It's one of those timeless love tunes with an awesome melody. Now, what's cool about this arrangement is that it's got an extra part to it. It's got a little intro before it kicks into the melody that we all know and love, so it adds an extra layer of awesomeness to it. Now, as far as playing wise, this is going to be for the intermediate and up player, so it has a few tricky elements. Most notably are the chords, so it is pretty bar chord heavy. Now that brings us to a good point. If you are new to tackling bar chords or you want to get a little bit of a refresher course, then I would highly encourage you to check out our lesson on proper left-hand form, because it's going to highlight proper form not only in front of the neck, but also behind the neck. So what we're doing here with this shape and where our thumb is going to be placed. And proper form is the key or the secret to getting these chords to ring out. So building strength all comes from proper form. So check out that link. I'll also put it in the description box below. Now, as far as the lesson, you're going to be learning the entire tune in this video. So if you do want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for La Vie en Rose, and also on that page is going to be the interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset in learning a tune like this that much easier. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this tune, and then I'll see you at the end of the video.
Today we're going to learn a solo arrangement of La Vie en Rose. To start, we're going to work on the intro part, which starts with a pickup bar. To play this, all that we need to do is play our open A string twice, and then our G string. And those are going to be on essentially and for the rhythm count. So the pickup bar in time should sound something like this. 1 and 2 and 3. Now as we go into measure 1, we're going to play an F chord. We're going to use our index finger on the first fret of the E string and our middle finger here on the second fret of the G string. Strum through the G, C, and E strings together, then open on the E, taking the index off. Place it back on for 1. Take the middle off for 0 on the G. Open on the A. Now take your index and move it to 1 on the A for that B flat note. And then we're going to play this cool, spicy D7 chord. We're going to take our middle finger and place it here on the second fret of the G string, and our ring finger here on the second fret of the E string. So it's a D7 with that added B flat melody note, which creates some nice tension. And then to finish that measure, we'll just take our index finger off and play the open A. So measure 1, and we'll play the pickup bar with it too, should sound something like this in time. 1 and 2 and 3. As we go into measure 2, from this D7, we're just going to slide our ring finger up to 3 on the E string and add the index finger here on 2 of the C. And we're going to play through our G, C, and E strings, which creates a G5 chord that's listed here. We're then going to take our ring finger off, place our middle finger on the second fret of the E, and then place the ring finger back on the 3. Then we'll play the open A, and then 1 on the A with our index finger, and then 3 on the A with our ring finger, and then the C7 chord, we're just going to leave our ring finger where it is, add our middle finger on 3 of the G string, and then play the 3 on the G to finish that measure. So that measure in time should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, measures 1 and 2, including that pickup bar, should sound something like this: 1 and 2 and 3. Going right ahead into measure 3, we're going to go back to that F chord from the first measure, this time playing through all 4 strings. Then we're going to play the open G, taking the middle finger off, open on the A, then 1 on the A, but when I play this 1 on the A, I actually like to take my index finger and bar it across the C, E, and A strings, even though I'm only playing 1 on the A. And the reason is because the very next note is a chord, a C minor, 0, 3, 3, 3, with our index finger barred across the 3rd fret of the C, E, and A. By doing the bar early, it makes it easier to slide up into that note. Then I'm going to play the 3 on the A 3 more times to finish that measure. So measure 3 in time: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into measure 4 now, we're going to play a D7 chord. To do this, take your index finger and bar all the way across the 2nd fret, across the G, C, E, and A strings. Then add the middle finger here on 3 of the A. Strum through all 4 strings. Play the 3 on the A a 2nd time. Then we're going to play 4 on the E. To do this, we take our ring finger, place it here on the 4th fret of the E string, and then 2 on the G. And then we're going to switch to that same C7 chord from the 2nd measure. So we're going to go with our ring finger here to the 3rd fret on the A string, and our middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the G string. All right, so the exact same voicing as before. So measure 4 in time should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And measure 3 and 4 should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so that we can hear the entire intro, because this is actually the last bar of it, here is the pickup bar all the way through measure 4. 1 and 2 and 3. From here now we go on to measure 5, which is really the first melody A of the song. So to start this, we're going to be doing the really iconic, riff and melody of this song, and we're going to move all the way up to the 5th fret, barring all the way across with the index finger, and add the pinky here on 8 of the A. Now we're going to strum through this with our thumb, and then we're going to follow this with a down strum. As you can see on the tab, that marker means a down strum. We're going to use our index finger in the nail, but we want to strum very softly. And the reason for this is because we want this to be more of an embellishment in the background. So we have the chord through with our thumb, and then we're going to do a soft strum with our index. From here, we're then going to play 7 on the A with our ring finger, and then 5 on the A built into the bar, 5 on the G built into the bar, 5 on the E built into the bar, and 5 on the C built into the bar. So it just arpeggiates down within the voicing, which is pretty neat. And then that last note is going to be the 7 on the A again with the ring finger. So in time, measure 5 should sound something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going right into measure 6, we're going to do something very similar, still with the bar across 5. Now just add your ring finger to 7 on the A. Strum through with the thumb, then down strum, and then we're going to take the ring finger off, play 5 on the A, 5 on the G, 5 on the E, 5 on the C, and then 7 on the A. So you'll see it's pretty much the same thing we just played, just now going all the way down to the C string, again leaving all of that bar in place. So measure 6 in time should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. As we go on to measure 7, it's a continuation of this. We're going to leave that bar across the 5th fret, strum through with our thumb, strum through with our index softly, and then G, E, C, all there at 5. But then finally we break it and we take everything off and play open on the E. And then we're going to play 7 on the A, and I like to use my ring finger for this. So measure 7 in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into measure 8, we're going to play a G minor chord. Take your index finger, place on the 5th fret of the A string, middle finger here on the 6th fret of the E string, and ring finger here on the 7 of the C string. Strum through with our thumb, and then strum through with our index. And then we go to that C7 that we played earlier with our middle finger here on 3 of the G, ring finger here on 3 of the A, strum through with the thumb, and again with the index. So in time, measure 8 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now those first 4 bars of melody A, starting with 5 going through 8, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now we go into measure 9. Gets a little bit more tricky here. We're going to go even higher up the fretboard. Take your index finger and bar it across 10 of the C, E, and the A strings, leaving the G string open. Strum through all 4 strings, and then a down strum with your index. And then this is where it gets a little dicey because we have to jump all the way down to 5. Now you can use your index finger here, but what I like to do is I like to use my ring finger here on 5 of the A. And the reason, even though it's such a big jump here, is because then I can just slide it down to 3 for the next chord, which is that C7, that 3003 that we played earlier in the song. And so by doing the ring finger here on 5, I can just slide it down. And if I get a little bit of a slide sound, it's not so bad. It's a nice little embellishment. After we play that C7, we play 3 on the G. We open the G string, and then we are going to slide all the way back up to 7 on the A. So measure 9, bit of a doozy, should sound something like this, a little bit slower. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into measure 10 now, we're going to play that same G minor chord we played previously on measure 8, the 0765, and we're going to downstrum it with the index after we play it. And then we're going to jump to 3 on the A, and we're going to use our ring finger. So again, a big travel here, but the reason is we play that 3 on the A, then we cross our middle finger here to 3 on the G, and we can play 300 for that next note there with the C7 chord. So we have the G minor, down, 3 with the ring, 300, 3 on the G, 0 on the C and the E. And then we go to the 2 on the G string. So to do this, we're going to take our index finger and play 2 on the E string to get that F sharp note. Then we're going to take the middle finger off for open on the G, and we're going to slide this ring finger up to 7 on the A. So 10, another doozy, should look something like this, really, really slow. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into 11, we're going to play an F6 chord, which is the same thing we played earlier on measure 7, 5, 5, 5, 5, barred all the way across. And then we're going to go to an F sharp diminished, and to do this we can just slide this bar down, add the middle finger here on 3 of the C string, and add the ring finger here on 3 of the A string. And then we go to a C7, the same one we've been playing throughout this arrangement. We take our index finger off, move our ring finger up to 3 on the G, leave our ring finger where it was, and we have a C7, followed by another strum. So measure 11 should sound something like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And we go back into measure 12 here, and you'll notice that measure 12 kind of starts back up with the same melody that we've been playing to this point. So before we go on measure 12, let's go ahead and listen to what 9, 10, and 11 should sound like in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, going into measure 12, we actually play the exact same thing we did on measure 5. We're going to bar across the 5th fret, add the pinky here to 8 on the A, and then do the little soft strum, 7, and then a bunch of 5s, followed by the 8 on the A. So it's exactly the same measure as what we played on measure 5. So in time, 12 should sound like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going right into 13, you'll notice that 13 is exactly the same as measure 6. So we're going to go through the 5, 5, 5, 7 chord, down strum, 5 on the A, 5 on the G, 5 on the E, 5 on the C, add that 7 back on. So again, exactly the same as what we did earlier on measure 6. So 13 should sound like this in time: 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now when we go on to measure 14 here, this is where it's a little bit different than measure 7. 14 is going to start off exactly the same. Bar all the way across the 5th fret for that little F6 chord, and then down strum, 5 on the G, 5 on the E, 5 on the C, then take everything off for the 0 on the E. All of that is exactly the same as measure 7. But where it's different is when measure 7 went to a 7 on the A, we're going to go all the way up to an 8 on the A with our pinky finger. So 14 in time should be something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then from here, it's going to go to a B flat chord, but way high up the neck. To play this, we're going to leave our pinky here on 8 of the A. We're going to add the index here to 5 on the C, middle finger here to 6 on the E, and ring finger is going to come up and over to 7 on the G string. And we're going to strum through all 4 strings with our thumb, followed by 3 downstrokes with the index. So that we can hear what that sounds like, let's go ahead and play through measures 12, 13, 14, and 15 now, so you can get that next little section. Should be something like this in time, but still pretty slow. 2 and 3 and 4 and. You'll notice at 15 I get a little bit louder, and the reason is we want this to be the climax of the song as we go into measure 16, 17, 18, and 19, which are pretty difficult because now we're going to be strumming. So when we go into 16, what we need to do is take this B flat chord, we need to slide our pinky finger up to 10 on the A, add our ring finger here to 10 on the C, and our middle finger here to 9 of the E. So that is the ring finger on 10 of the C, middle finger on 9 of the E, and pinky finger on 10 of the A. It's a mouthful, it's a fingerful, it's tough for sure. That's going to create this beautiful B minor chord. And the reason why we're using these 3 fingers is because we're going to go down, up, then we're going to come miss down, and we're going to come up with 8 on the A. So we're going to take our pinky finger off and add index here on 8 on the A string. I'll tell you, when I was trying to do the performance for this video and just working out myself, this was the part that really was difficult. And one of the reasons is when you play this first chord, the 10, 9, 10, your hand has to be kind of angled towards your shoulder. And the trick to getting this consistent is when you take the pinky off and put the index on, you move your hand to be more straight and up and down. It makes this transition much easier to get through. So we're going to do a down up on 10, an up on 8, and then a down up on 10 again, and then another up on 8. Whew, spicy. So 16 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now as we go into 17, we're going to go to this beautiful F add 9 chord. We're basically going to move our fingers up and take off the ring finger. So the middle finger comes up to 9 on the C, the index comes up to 8 on the E, and the ring finger is going to move to 10 on the A. Now I actually like to bar my index finger here across the 8th fret of the E and the A strings. And the reason is I'm going to do this downstroke on the 0, 9, 8, 10, followed by an up. And then the next up strum that I'm going to do, I take off the ring finger, and if that bar is there, it gets me that 8 on the A that's needed. So we have the down, up on 10, and then up on 8. And then a downstroke here, you'll notice nothing's written on the A string. What you want to do is you want to raise the pressure off of that index finger so that you mute the A string and do a downstrum there so that the last note that rings is the E string. This is quite challenging and takes a lot of practice just to get that consistent, but it's just a matter of raising enough pressure off just the A string to get it. So 17 in time should sound something like this, nice and slow. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now we go on to 18. 18's another tricky measure. What we're going to want to do for 18 is bar all the way across the 7th fret of the entire ukulele. Add the middle finger here onto fret 8 of the C string. And then the pinky is going to stretch out to 10 on the A. This creates a really nice A-flat diminished chord with the melody note out here on the A string. We're going to go down, up, and then on the next up strum, we're going to take our pinky off and add our ring finger to the 8 on the A. So it's that 7, 8, 7, 8 type of chord shape. And we're going to do an up strum there, back on a down with the pinky, and then an up, and then back to the 8 on the A string, and that's going to be on an up strum. It's a doozy. Honestly, my hand cramps just teaching it because it's so tricky to do. And so you want to get really comfortable holding that 10. We're going to go down, up, going down to the 8, up, and then back to the 10, down, up, and then back to the 8 on an up. So measure 18 in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... You hear I'm getting some buzzes in there, right? Honestly, my hand's pretty fatigued from doing the tutorial and practicing the song earlier, and I do this for a living. So the reason I'm bringing this up is if you find this part is difficult, it's normal. It's a tricky part. Keeping your hand fresh will definitely help. And if you find yourself getting worse at it, it just means that you've overworked yourself. In the same way that, you know, when you run for a long time, you can't run as fast by the end of your marathon, and it's the same sort of logic. So take breaks, stretch out the hand, it's okay. Now we go on to measure 19, which is really the climax of the song leading up to this. A little bit easier though. We're going to bar across 7, add the 10 on the pinky and on the A string there. And we're going to do a down, up for this G chord. And then we're going to add the middle finger on 8 of the A for the up. And then we're going to switch chords here. This awesome C13 chord. Index is going to be here on 6 of the E. Pinky's going to stretch all the way out to 12 on the A. So it's a big old stretch here, 6 fret stretch. We're going to do a down strum. And I like to let this ring for a little bit more than the 1 beat that's listed. And then come through with the thumb, sliding this pinky down 2 frets to 10 on the A. And this, again, you can let ring because this leads into the last section of the song. So measure 19 in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... See, I kind of hold it a little bit. So that we can hear this whole section, right? We're going to play now measures 16, 17, 18, and 19, which should be sort of the climax of the song. I'm going to play this nice and slow so that you can hear these rhythms. It is very difficult, but you'll get it with practice. So starting with measure 16 here, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Oh, see, I made a mistake. This is so good because when I went to that measure 18, that 7, 8, 10, I was up 1 too many frets. It's so easy to second guess yourself. And the reason was because I tried to use my ring finger here on 10 of the A. So really make sure when you're going to measure 18, you use your pinky. That'll set your fingers more correctly for 7, 8, 7, 10. For this chord, which is so problematic. So that you can hear it again here with me switching to the pinky on 18. Here is 16, 17, 18, and 19 in nice slow time. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Pinky. And from here, we go to the rest of the song, the end, the last few measures. And it starts with some familiar things. It starts with the F chord here with the 8 on the A, bar all the way across 5. Which is the exact same part we played at measure 6 and at measure 5. So in time, that sounds like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And now it gets a little bit familiar again. We're going to go through 21, the 5, 5, 5, 7, a little strum, and then 5, 5, 5, 5, back to the 7. You'll notice that that's the same thing we've been doing earlier. So in time, 21, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going into measure 22, now this is different. We're going to play that G minor chord that we did play earlier in the song. 0, 7, 6, 5, ring finger here on 7 of the C string, middle finger here on 6 of the E string, index finger here on 5 of the A. We're going to strum through that. Add our pinky here on 8 of the E. And then we're going to take our pinky and ring finger off and play 0, 0, 6, 5, just our middle finger here on 6 of the E, index here on 5 of the A. 7 on the A with the ring finger. So 22 in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going right into 23, it's just an F chord, 5, 5, 5, 8. And that's the end of the song. So that we can hear that last whole section, here's measure 20 through 23, the end. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And there is La Vie en Rose. So it's a real difficult arrangement at parts because some of those bars high up on the neck require a lot of finger strength and dexterity. And so when you're working on it, take lots of breaks. It's okay. It's a lot like doing yoga for your fingers. In fact, if you look at my finger here as I'm trying to teach it and hold these bars for the 25 minutes or so, you can see that it's showing some wear. And so it's okay to have realistic expectations of these and try to make sure that you're taking breaks as you're practicing it to get it the best you can. As always, check out Rock Class 101 for more lessons like this, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time for the next tutorial. Thanks so much.
Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed learning this tune. It's one of those classic timeless love songs and just a perfect one to play for your sweetheart. So guys, I do want to remind you, if you want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, you can do so by clicking this link right here or going to the site rockclass101.com and doing a search for Levy and Rose. Now, also on that page is that really cool interactive tab player, so you can hit play, you can loop bars, you can slow it down to any speed. Just a really, really cool feature to help tackle songs like this that much easier. All right, guys, so again, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.